Hello YouTube, back once again with my Game of Thrones reviews, and here we are with episode 6, Unbowed, Unbent, Unbroken. What a great name for an episode, yeah, let's talk about this as always, area by area. So, one, we had Arya. We saw what's going on with her and her and her creepy assassin place, and but pretty much it was pretty much kind of just felt like the typical thing going on there. I liked just kind of just people being creepy and being like, oh, you need to learn how to tell the truth and like be someone else, like just your typical stuff. So not much to say there. The two things I really did like though from that basically when the faceless assassin just goes to Arya and just says, "Tell me your story," and she just says the story, and anytime she lies, like he instantly knows and just whips her. Like she says things like, "I stabbed a stable boy in the back," and just like, "You're lying," and fine, I stabbed him through the chest, and like he just like, "My father was killed in battle," and he just slaps her, hits her, and just like, no, you're right, he was beheaded. The one thing I really liked though, this is where it got interesting though, was when she talked about the Hound and how she was traveling with him, and she said, she just says, "I let him die because I hated him," and then the faceless assassin just slaps her across a bit and just hits her, and then he's like, "You're lying," and then she's like, "No, I hated him," and she just keeps hitting her, just saying, "No, you're lying," and then so yeah, it definitely showed that maybe Arya maybe lied to her, maybe actually somewhat regretful for what she leaving the Hound to die. So I think that was some interesting character development right there. That, and we also saw like the lower area of the assassin house, whatever you want to call it, and the House of Black and White, and that was a really interesting visual down there. I love how they were just like all the pillars with all the holes with all these faces in it. Like I thought that was really interesting. And but yeah, besides that, stuff with Arya is kind of same old. So there was that. Then also we also finally got back to Dorne this episode. We cut to Dorne, and as we heard the actor who plays Bronn with his beautiful singing voice, and that's not me being sarcastic, because that guy's actually a pretty good singer, just singing happily as him and Jaime travel down to Dorne, and then while Jaime's like, "Oh, Bronn, please, I'm tired, don't do this," and so that was hilarious, and and thankfully they get there just in time for when the Sand Snakes try to assassinate Cersei's daughter, so good timing there. Unfortunately, though, they all get captured. The Sand Snakes, Oberyn's girlfriend, Bronn and Jaime, all captured now, and the only thing that's funny is like how Bronn still keeps a smiling attitude. Like, I love even when they're captured, he just says to one of the Sand Snakes, he's just like, for a little girl, you put up a good fight. Like, that made me laugh. Always nice how Bronn always keeps a upbeat attitude about things. So there was that. As always, Dorne was awesome. Sand Snakes were always awesome. The fight scene between Bronn and Jaime and the Sand Snakes was not the best. It kind of just bit too much shaky cam, like it was a bit like too much, yeah, so not the best fight scene, but still it's always cool to see Dorne. Dorne is just freaking awesome, and so there's that. Okay, also though, and then we got to what's probably the funniest part of the episode, in which we cut to Tyrion and Ser Jorah. I love how Tyrion's like, "Oh, we're traveling companions," and then Ser Jorah's like, no, we're not traveling companions. Like, well, we're traveling with each other as companions, so we're traveling companions. And then Jorah's like, no, but then I did really like the scene though, just like how when Tyrion's are starting, "Oh yeah, I met your dad, like, I'm so sorry he died," and then like Ser Jorah not even knowing though, just like, "Wait, he's dead," and I loved how like even Tyrion's like, "I'm sorry, Ser Jorah, I didn't know, you didn't know, I'm so sorry, just know he was a good man from beginning to end." So that was a nice bonding scene. But then we hit the funniest moment of the episode, which came from these two, in which they run into a group of slavers, and it was just great what happened. Just at first they're gonna like just take them and kill Tyrion, because like dwarf dicks are magical apparently, or good luck. And I just love the line, just like Tyrion's like, "No, you can't kill me yet, because if you just kill me and cut my dick off now, why would a merchant believe you? And then they're like, you're right. Okay, we keep the dwarf alive until we find a dick merchant. That just cracked me up. That line, just such a weird series of words. We'll keep the dwarf alive until we find a dick merchant. That had me laughing. But then also the bigger thing though is that Tyrion and Jorah managed to lie and make Jorah sound like this a super great the greatest warrior ever, and they're heading to the arena now, the reopened arena, and so yeah, it looks like maybe we'll get some really cool Sir Jorah action scenes coming up soon in the next episode. Maybe he'll be in a remake he'll be a tiny remake of Gladiator with him. But so all that was great. Love them. I like seeing Tyrion and Jorah bonding, and like I said, just the Dick's line that cracked me up. So pretty fun stuff going on there. Okay, so there was that. Then we were back down in King's Landing, in which wow, a lot happened in King's Landing today. First, Lord Baelish comes back to King's Landing with the Lancers still completely oblivious to the fact he plans to destroy them all, and I loved how Lord Baelish basically just how clever this guy is, how he has Sansa, he wants Sansa, but he's also using this as an advantage to become good with the Lannisters so they won't suspect anything, basically saying, I will kill Sansa for you, I will make sure Sansa dies. So I love Lord Baelish. I know a lot of people hate Lord Baelish saying he's super creepy. That's what I love about him. I love how he always seems like the smartest man in the room. Like, he's not the most powerful man in the room. He's just like, he's not one of the characters that takes control of a situation. He's the character who knows how the conversation will play out from beginning to end. So that's why I love Lord Baelish. And also what's going on is there's the whole fallout for the fact that the gay knight, Marjorie's brother, has been taken by the religious guys, the Sparrows, whatever they're called. I keep forgetting. No, there's the High Sparrow. But this led to, I was shocked because I thought this actress was done with this show from this point on. No, it led to the return of the grandmother Tyrell. I can't remember what the character's name is. I can't remember what the actress's name is at the moment, but you know who I'm talking about. It's grandmother Tyrell, and my God, is it always wonderful to see that actress. She was just so great, especially her conversation between her and Cersei when she's just saying to Cersei, like, when Cersei's just like, I want you to release my grandson, and then Cersei's like, well, I can't do that, and then she's just, grandmother Tyrell is just like, you know, I know you're not writing anything, Cersei, let's cut the bullshit here. That was great. And I gotta say, though, Cersei, I know she is a cold-hearted bitch that doesn't really like to think through things that much, but, I mean, grandmother Tyrell did bring up a very good point, which is like, you don't realize if you piss us off enough, we will break our alliance, we have more soldiers, we have more food, we could easily destroy you guys, you don't have your Jaime's lost a hand, Tywin's not alive anymore, your house doesn't mean what it used to, and but Cersei's like, no, I'm gonna keep pissing you off until that's done. And this led to a trial scene between the religious guy, the High Sparrow, and the gay knight, where he basically ends up throwing Marjorie and her brother in prison. So yeah, don't know what Cersei's thinking here. Things are probably gonna go straight to shit for her before the season's over. So but yeah, so that was interesting. It's just interesting to learn how cold-hearted Cersei is. Like, she'll let the world burn before she burns. As long as she's gonna know she's gonna burn, she's gonna let the world burn with her. Like, misery enjoys company. That's always been Cersei's policy. So interesting stuff with Cersei this season, which is, like I said, great to see the grandmother Tyrell back this season. Always one pleasure seeing her. And finally, we got to what was hands down the darkest, most unpleasant, most uncomfortable thing this episode. We got back to Winterfell with Sansa, and first the stuff with Sansa was pretty cool, like how Miranda, Ramsay's crazy girlfriend, just like shows up and then just starts trying to like make her fear Ramsay, and and Sansa's just instantly sees through Miranda, and Sansa's like, hey Miranda, I know you love him, and I'm not afraid of you. What can you do to me? And then Miranda just basically just bites her tongue and just walks out like, God fucking damn it. That was freaking awesome from Sansa. Wonderful performance from Sophia Turner on that part. So that was really great. Just that really shows how far the character of Sansa has come, how she's actually starting to threaten people now. That was interesting. And then though there was the wedding between Ramses and Sansa, and it's still so heartbreaking. Just because like Theon goes to bring her to the wedding, and then Theon's like, Sansa, I was told I need to take your hand, and she's like, no, I'm not gonna let you, and you can just see like the pain and misery on Theon's face. He just wants to so badly just yell out, just like, I'm sorry, I didn't kill your brothers, they're still alive out there, as far as my knowledge goes, and, but no, he's just so broken. I know a lot of people hate Theon, like, I feel he's suffered enough at this point. I mean, he doesn't have to survive. I just want him to have a bit of relief. Just able to, if he dies with a clean conscience, and dies knowing that he has helped the people he feels so horrible he's betrayed. So, yeah, there was that. But then this led to the single most uncomfortable, this may have been worse than the second episode of the first season when with Emilia Clarke and her husband, just when got very rapey. That scene, the scene between her and Khal Drogo, when it felt very rapey, that it kind of hit that level. It may have actually been worse, because essentially what happens is after the wedding, they go to the bedchamber, and then you just hear Sophia Turner Sansa crying as Ramsay just essentially rapes her. He even grabs the bag of Jen and just rips it off. I'm like, oh god, this is pretty rapey right here. And you just hear Sansa crying, and as Ramsay Snow just screwing the fuck out of her. And the most horrible thing though is Ramsay actually makes Theon watch, and Theon is just in complete. You don't see the raping sex scene going on. You just see Theon's perspective. You just see Theon breaking into tears, and you're just like, and it just really it is really, really unpleasant. I don't know if it worked or not. I need to contemplate this a bit more, but this may have gone a bit too far. That moment, it may have been a bit too tasteless. Ugh. And yeah, no, like I said though, just Theon, just seeing his tears and misery in the face, just how much he wants to help Sansa for the fact that he feels so horrible for betraying her family, and he wants just some sort of redemption and forgiveness, but he's just too broken. But so yeah, that was really, really unpleasant. Don't know, like I said though, I don't know if it worked or not. Okay, well, it wasn't as bad as the Cersei Jaime rape scene from last season. Even though I read online that was the rape scene between Jaime and Cersei in the fourth season, that was just an accident on the writer's part. It wasn't supposed to come off that way, but this certainly was supposed to come off that way, and well, certainly brought back to light what a cold, horrible human being Ramses is, and how he must be destroyed. And so yeah, all I can say, probably not the best this season, not the worst this season, somewhere in the middle of this season. But as always, YouTube, please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye.